The torches flicker against stone walls, their smoke curling upward like restless spirits trapped in the ceiling beams. You move with the crowd, sandals clicking in chorus, each echo bouncing down marble corridors that smell faintly. Tonight, Rome's palace feels less like the home of an emperor and more like the stage of some fever dream. You can almost hear Caligula laughing already, the sound sharp as broken glass. His Rome doesn't wait. Like what you're seeing? Hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'm always reading them. The feast hall opens before you, a cavern of gold and shadows. Cushions spill across the floor like overturned fruit. Courtiers sprawl on them with lazy grace, goblets in hand. Grapes are pressed between fingers until juice dribbles down knuckles, and musicians pluck strings that feel too sweet for the heaviness in the air. You feel his gaze. When he steps forward, he isn't dressed as a man, but as a god, or perhaps as something in between. He wears armor polished to mirror brightness, but around his head curls a wig of gleaming hair. This is your emperor, and he wants you to clap. A hush settles. Caligula leans on his sister's shoulder. Was it Drusilla tonight? The line between performance and reality blurs in this hall. Ancient sources whisper of sisters. The dancers arrive, not hired entertainers from the streets, but senators' wives, coerced to perform under flickering lamps. Imagine senators, those men who once debated the Republic, now sitting rigid as their kin twirl in gauzy. A senator coughs, his face red not just from the wine, but from humiliation. Caligula's laughter slices the silence again. There's your punchline, delivered at the expense of Rome's dignity. You almost expect someone to mutter. You inch closer, catching sight of the banquet tables themselves. Peacocks roasted whole, tongues of flamingo skewered beside bowls of pomegranate seeds, even loaves of bread kneaded with flecks of gold. A quirky tidbit survives here. Caligula supposedly declared that if Rome must eat, why not dine like gods, even if that meant melting down treasures to bake into pastries. Was it wasteful excess? Absolutely. Was it an ancient version of flexing? Yet beneath the absurdity hums something colder. The rituals he performs are never just about indulgence. They are acts of theater designed to unbalance the elite. To remind everyone present he can twist tradition as easily. Take, for instance, the marriage ceremonies. You hear whispers of one such spectacle, Caligula, draped in bridal white, standing beside a senator's daughter, only to annul the union the next morning. Was it desire or parody? Historians still debate whether these were actual marriages or staged humiliations. Either way, you can feel the sting of unease ripple through the crowd like the draft that sneaks in under the palace doors. The air. Musicians slow, and silence returns, pregnant with anticipation. Caligula rises, goblet in hand, his lips stained red. He orders the lamps dimmed until the room glows faintly, as though you are all submerged underwater, then chanting. Not Latin hymns, but strange invocations, fragments stolen from Eastern mystery cults. You recognize phrases attributed to Isis, others perhaps to Mithras, cobbled together in a patchwork of spirituality that only Caligula could dare stitch. The ritual sways between parody and genuine fervor. One moment he is mocking the gods, the next he is declaring himself their equal. You realize the emperor isn't simply blaspheming, he's rehearsing his own apotheosis. The courtiers watch with fixed smiles, masks stretched tight. Some nod reverently, others swallow hard, but none dares look away. You sense how exhausting it must be, keeping up with an emperor who shifts personas faster. Just when you think he will crown himself Jupiter, he pivots, calling for more wine, more dancers, and more laughter. The tension breaks, like a joke with a too long setup finally landing, and the crowd exhales relief. You catch yourself smirking too. After all, surviving Caligula's court sometimes means laughing at his punchlines, no matter how cruel. The night slouches onward. You overhear one senator whisper to another about crocodile dung. Yes, crocodile dung. being rumored as a fertility aid in Egypt, and you realize the absurdity of it all. Rome, conqueror of the world, reduced to gossiping about reptile excrement while their emperor parades as Venus. Still, you cannot deny the strange allure. The feasts are grotesque, yet magnetic. You sense that being in Caligula's orbit is both curse and privilege. Even his enemies will later admit he knew how to command. And so you linger, lulled by the mix of wine fumes and candle smoke, by the sound of sandals shuffling as guests retreat into corners to mutter about what they've just seen, as dawn peeks over hills. The hall dissolves into weary silence. Guests lie sprawled, some asleep, some pretending, and Caligula himself vanishes behind velvet curtains. You leave with the others, the smell of ashes clinging to your tunic, the memory. You wonder if Rome can survive an emperor who treats power as improv comedy, where the punchline is always at someone else's expense, and yet part of you knows you'll be back tomorrow night, this theater insane. The morning light cuts harshly across the cobblestones, and yet the city is already buzzing with rumors of last night's feast. You follow the murmurs through Rome's markets, where vendors hawk olives, figs, and fish. But everyone's eyes dart toward the amphitheater. It's not gladiators the crowd whispers about today. It's Caligula and whatever spectacle he might conjure next. You can almost feel the city's collective shiver, one part fear. The emperor does not disappoint. He strides into the arena not as a patron, but as a performer, claiming the spotlight with the grin of someone who knows you can't look away. A historical fact remembered. Caligula once ordered an entire section of spectators executed simply because he grew bored. Imagine sitting there, sipping watered wine, and realizing the halftime show is your own demise. You'd clap harder after that, wouldn't you? And yet, he doesn't only wield death, he toys with life itself. Today he demands the games begin not with lions or swords, but with parades of animals dressed in silks. Ostriches waddle awkwardly under harnesses. Exotic panthers wear collars encrusted with gems. The crowd gasps, then laughs, then falls silent, unsure if this is comedy, cruelty, or some blend only Caligula could invent. One man mutters, "It feels like watching reels." You hear him call next for senators. Yes, senators, Rome's ruling class, dragged into the sand, forced to run mock races in their togas. Their sandals slip, their dignity slides further, and the crowd roars with cruelty. It is funny, in that cruel playground way where everyone laughs louder to keep from becoming the next target. Remember that crocodile dung sunscreen rumor from Egypt? This feels just as ridiculous, except here laughter is survival. The public banquets are no gentler. Long tables snake through Rome's streets, groaning under roasted meats, bread, and vats of wine. You take a seat, only to realize half the meal is a performance, not nourishment. Caligula raises a goblet, declaring the gods themselves dine alongside you. Then he points to empty chairs, claiming Jupiter, Neptune, and Venus are present. Everyone nods obediently, chewing olives with the solemnity of a church. The quirky tidbit here, sometimes he charged senators for these divine meals, insisting they pay tribute to gods who never showed up. You can almost hear the accountants groaning centuries later at this cosmic invoice. Some nights, he transforms the banquets into auctions. Wealthy guests bid on each other's property, or worse, their spouses, while Caligula watches, amused. Was it humiliation or entertainment? Historians still argue whether these auctions were satire. Either way, the sound of coins clinking feels heavier than chains, because you know every sesterce spent feeds Caligula's insatiable hunger for control. And then come the whispers, those darker taboos that slide through Rome. Stories of Caligula visiting the temples at night, not to pray but to move statues of gods so they could attend his parties. Imagine sneaking into Jupiter's temple only to find the deity absent, relocated. Dragged across town to sit beside the emperor's couch. You almost expect Caligula to post a selfie with the caption, "Me and the big guy, casual Friday." But in Rome, desecration is no joke at all. The games escalate further. You watch in disbelief as prisoners are marched into the arena, not for battle, but to reenact myths. One poor soul is dressed as Orpheus, only to be mauled instead. Another plays Hercules and is crushed under rocks. The cruelty is wrapped in theater, tragedy served with applause. The emperor claps the loudest, his laughter echoing like a cracked bell, the line between myth and murder. What unsettles you most is how the crowd participates. Some cheer, some laugh nervously, some stay silent, but all remain. You realize that Rome itself has become a character in Caligula's performance, trapped forever. You almost admire the audacity. Almost. As dusk falls, the banquets return, their shadows longer and more sinister. Candles flicker in the breeze as Caligula demands toasts to himself as God made flesh. Guests obey. Guests raise their cups with trembling hands, the wine tasting sharper than ever. A senator's wife drops her goblet, and the room freezes. Caligula smiles, pardons her, then orders her husband executed the next morning. That's the emperor's humor. Half mercy, half menace, all unpredictable. And yet, Rome still talks about him with awe. His extravagance is legendary, his madness theatrical. Some call it insanity, others strategy, a tool. Historians still argue whether his reign was deliberate shock politics or the unraveling of a mind steeped in too much wine and too many whispered prophecies. You suspect it was both, because madness and strategy intertwine. The night ends with silence. The crowd disperses, whispering prayers to gods they hope still listen. You stand at the edge of the forum, the torches dying one by one, and the city feels smaller. You wonder how long Rome can endure this theater of cruelty before the curtain falls for good. For now, though, you take a slow breath, letting the noise fade, the imagery dissolve into emptiness. The madness of Caligula lingers, but the night sky softens it, stars blinking above as if to remind you there are still constants beyond imperial whims. I'll leave you here, where echoes of laughter quiet.